You know, we do a lot of debating about what Trimet really is, a transit agency, or a development agency, an engineering agency. Well, I can illustrate for you exactly what Trimet is. I can illustrate it for you. I can explain it to you. Once I explain it, you'll understand why we make these comments about what is Trimet really. So watch this clip. It's only 2 minutes, and then I'll explain it.
6-41, which is a resolution authorizing a contract with URS Corporation for engineering design services for the existing light rail track rehabilitation project. Mr. General Manager.
Mr. Board President, this was the resolution which you saw first time at your last board meeting, tabled, brought back at this point in time after we've had further elaboration on the DBE scores associated with. And what I would just remind you is that this was a procurement under the Brooks Act, so it's qualifications based. That's a federal requirement related to procurement of engineering services. And then once we secure the highest ranked proposer, then we enter into negotiations on price. Based on the criteria in the RFP, again, the recommendation to you was that URS was the highest ranked proposer. The question that was brought forward last month was work plan and diversity, and how could a DBE score lower than a non-DBE on that category. But I think what's important to note is that was two categories together, the work plan overall and DBE or a diversity as a separate criteria. So they're sort of merged together in that one score. And so a large part of this was the work plan, which is really the technical qualifications side of this, as well as then second, the diversity question, and merged together in one category. And we do that, frankly, to give us some flexibility related to the scoring mechanisms. We did review this with Dr. Bethel, and he may have some comments related to that, since, again, as you recall, the major question here was raised by Dr. Bethel earlier. I would note that URS has an excellent record related to disadvantaged business and is currently in current work with us at levels of about 22% participation. We're very pleased with their performance overall. The reason for this contract, again, just to step back for a moment, is to assist us with the rehabilitation work necessary for the state of good repair work that will that is necessary to really do the improvements that were funded in the fiscal year 14 budget, which will primarily reliability improvements on the existing blue line. So with that, I pose for any questions, and perhaps Dr. Bethel would like to offer some comments as well.
Right. Maybe we'll go right.
So what did we just hear? What did you hear in the clip? We're talking about some kind of technical information, engineering stuff, building stuff. And what does it show? What does it show you? How many board meetings have I watched over the last few years? I've watched probably hundreds of these suckers. And how much time is spent talking about the buses that are 25 minutes late, the buses that don't show up, the maxes that break down, the buses that break down? How much time is spent talking about services? Virtually no time is spent at the board meeting talking about transit service. It's all talk about capital projects, all of it. Watch any board meeting and see what they talk about. They just talk about capital projects. And the board of directors is the agency. This board of directors is only about building and capital projects. They spend no time talking about services on the ground. That's the truth of Trimet. It's in front of you. Pick up any board meeting and look at it. Transit is never discussed. Transit in Portland is very rarely discussed. Maybe a quarterly report or something. They'll go over it real quick, and that's that. The rest of the meeting is all about these contracts and capital projects. That's all Trimet is nowadays.